Hello everyone, welcome back. You'll see I've expanded our sugarcane operation that we had going. It's something about 400 plants now. So the main topic of this video is going to be canal building and hopefully getting a villager back to our camp. Now, earlier I started trying to make this video and I got attacked by pillagers and it turned into a big mess, so we're going to try take two now. And I'm only telling you that because there's a chance they may still be there. So we'll find out in a minute. But anyway, so you can see you move pretty fast across water, and when you've got a villager to bring in from a long way away, like we're going to have to, really doing it by canal is pretty much the best early game solution. And we are definitely still in the early game, so at least by my reckoning. I suppose some people might say otherwise. But anyway, you see that if you're in a boat, you dig pretty slow. So while you're digging your canal, you'll want to get out of your boat. Anytime you're mounted, you get a decrease in your tool speed, block breaking speed with tools or whatever. We're going to break this boat because we don't need it at this moment. And I'm going to do a little bit of the digging for this canal on camera, just to give you an idea of what it's like. It's kind of a lot of work, but we won't do too much of it on camera here. Let's fill in this part of the canal right here. Alright, that's almost done. There we go. Just in time for night. Got another few moments before we can sleep. I'll show you the path here. We're going to dig out here and straight through that cliff to get to the ocean. Now I picked the path that we are going to follow because there's a lake right here, and that will make our job a little bit easier. We won't have to dig quite as much. We'll have to fill that lake in a little bit. Well, no, we don't necessarily have to, but we're going to. I prefer canals when they're uniform depth. That way if something happens and you end up outside of your boat or whatever, you don't end up at the bottom of the lake, and neither does any of your gear or anything that you happen to be harvesting, or just more predictable, and it doesn't make it go any slower. Alright, so back to digging. So we have a long way to go to get to this village. I've already taken care of most of the canal work. You'll see once we get through here that I've lit up the path that we're going down. We're going to use a lot of natural waterways to try and reduce the amount of digging necessary. You'll see at the, well, you saw, I should say, at the beginning of this video, after a short amount of canal work, we came to a lake or river. I want to call it a lake because it didn't keep going on forever. And we're about to go through another little pond. Not a whole lot to say about this part, you just have to dig a lot. I set up these torches that you're seeing, the one I just knocked off there. I set that up to, I'm going to fill in this canal right now. Sometimes I wait until the end to do it, but just to give you an idea of how it works. You can see that the column that I'm in, the row that I'm in, is filling itself in as I fill in the one beside it. For that same reason that we've mentioned in the past, that if you have two water source blocks next to a block, next to an empty air block or a flowing water block, whatever, that they will be filled in with water source blocks. So we don't even have to do anything to the side of the canal that we're on. It will fill itself in. Sometimes you have to get it started, depending on what the natural water around happens to look like, but since there was a lake there, we didn't have to start that side. Alright, so this little leg is done. Now we just have to go through this hill. We are going to, first of course though, fill in the channel like I was mentioning. And I'm even going to border that channel, I think. By doing this. That way we don't accidentally get off target when we're moving around. Alright, dig some more. Those filled themselves in. And I shouldn't have gotten rid of that dirt just yet. I wasn't done with it. Now if I was trying to be extra aesthetically focused, we'll say, I would have probably dug up the stone and replaced it with dirt just so that everything looks exactly the same, but when you're digging these long canals like this, it doesn't really do you that much good to do that. It takes a long time. Alright, so like I said, I didn't leave a whole lot there for us to dig through, but you can imagine going through a big long tunnel through solid rock. That can take a while, especially when you're using stone tools like you will be at the beginning of the game. And that's why I did most of this work before I started the video, because otherwise it would take a very long time to make this canal on camera. That would be boring, and I'd run out of things to talk about. Alright, so now our canal is done, basically. When we get to the village, there'll be some stuff we can still do. Let me double check and make sure that I put torches in the right spots in here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I thought I was missing one torch. Here we go. When you are steering a boat, you can't just look left and right. If you look left and right, the boat stays pointed the same direction. You have to use the keys you'd normally use to walk sideways to the left or right to turn it. And it makes navigation a little bit... Oh, look at that, we got a baby drowned zombie. How fun. Let's go and not mess with him. You can see the dolphins in the water. I love the dolphins. They like to play. If you go get in the water, they'll swim with you, and they give you a swimming speed buff. They make fun noises, and they jump around, and anyway. They'll do some of that while I'm in my boat many times, but they're not playing quite as much today. So you can see some of these torches that I've laid out to help me find my way, just in case it's dark or I get lost or something. It'll help me stay on track. I'm getting You see, I definitely could have gotten distracted and lost by those flowers over there. But then there's those torches that reminded me which way I'm actually going. They look a little like the daisies, or the dandelions rather. You can see some dandelions up on that cliff over there. But there are torches there. That was the big tunnel. Dig all the way through this big hill. Took quite some time. But now we can move through real fast. Hardly even feels like a long way when we're doing it like this. And our path continues along this river. And I put that torch there to remind me where the canal picked up again. So otherwise I would have kept following that river. Alright. Almost there, you can see the village now. Following my torches, I can see now we have arrived at our place of docking. Alright. Use an axe to break our boat. If the attack bar is fully charged, you can see that it's charging. If the attack bar is fully charged, even a stone axe will break a wooden boat in one hit. Otherwise, it seems like it takes two. And if you're hitting it with your fist, it takes a ton of hits. Alright, so we have a bunch of villagers here. And there's some ways that we can get them down there. Ultimately, we're going to be laying out a boat. And we are going to be taking them down. Now, even the tiniest elevation changes will hang up our boat. It's funny, you can actually use the boat on land. There is a slight elevation change there between the green grass tile and the road tile. This flattened grass that you can do by right-clicking grass with a shovel. So we've got basically straight path down from here. We've got another spot where the villagers like to congregate over here. This house spawned without any ground under it, or without hardly any ground under it, just a couple of blocks of earth. So I gave it stilts, because otherwise it would look like it was floating in the air. It's pretty funny. Alright, so these cauldrons here are work blocks. We can talk more about villagers and trading in later videos, but job site blocks, I should say, is what they're called. It's a cauldron and it has its uses for players, but if there is a cauldron nearby in a village, then some of the villagers may walk over to it, claim it, and then take on a job associated with that block. And the job for the cauldron is leather worker. Leather workers are really useful. One of the things that you can trade with them to get is a saddle. And that'll let us take a horse that we've tamed and be able to ride it around as we please. One of these guys, there's these 3 work blocks here. Job site blocks, I mean. Cauldrons. One of these guys, I've been here before. One of these guys has a trade. There it is, a trade for leather. That is a good way to level up leather workers. So I'm going to try and bring this guy home, because there are a lot of horses around, and I want to tame one of them and ride it around. So I'm going to try and convince this guy to get in my boat. Oi, you, get in my boat. Alright, that didn't work. Which one is it? It's this guy again. I'm just going to toss it right at his feet, try to force him into it. Get in my boat. Oh, the one that got in my boat is the one that I didn't want. Alright, try again. Gotcha. I got in before the other one could get in. Now we're going to take this guy home. We're going to put him out in the water. Yeah, we're going to take him home. Now you can change a villager's profession by breaking the worksite block that he is associated with. So if I broke all of those cauldrons, those two guys that we saw that have the leather aprons on them that leather workers have, they would turn back into regular villagers, just have kind of a brown drab looking robe. And the cool thing about that is if you place that worksite block down again, then they will probably reassociate with it, and what they're trading will change, assuming that they're a villager that has a variety of trades available at the lowest level. Many of them do. Leather workers have 3, and you get 2 of the trades from every level. Villagers that have a profession will be ranked from novice to journeyman to expert to master. I may have missed one rank in there. And as they rank up, they get more and more trades available. And at each of those ranks, there is a number of trades that they may get. And for some villager types, at some levels, there's only 2 trades. So you always get the same thing. But for many villagers, at many of their levels, they have 3 or 4 even, usually it's not more than that, different possible things that they could trade. And they're only going to get 2 of those several possible trades as something that you can barter with them for. So it can be very helpful to re-roll your villagers' novice trades before you lock them in. The first time you trade with them, it will lock them in. They'll be locked into that profession, and what they are trading will be fixed. So it can be helpful when you've got a new villager that you're trying to get to take a particular job, to make sure that you roll them enough times that you get something that you can trade with easily to level them up. So I grabbed this guy. Oops. You know what? We're going to fix that. That's not going to happen again. There used to be a tree there, and I chopped it down when I was clearing out that spot for the sugar cane, I think. I must have chopped it down then. I can't remember. But we're going to fill that spot up so we don't get pulled off course again. In fact, we're going to fill this spot up too, just so we don't accidentally steer off course. Alright, now we've got our villager back. As I was saying, oh, I took him too far from his work block. I was afraid that might happen. So we might have to roll this guy a few times to get him to offer a trade for leather, because we are going to have plenty of leather from our cows. Whereas the other things that leather workers trade at first level, you have to have emeralds to trade for, and we won't have any emeralds until we find something that a villager wants to buy from us. Unless we go down into the mines and try to find emeralds, they're fairly rare. Anyway, that's about enough of that for now. he's home, and the next thing that we need to do is build a house for him to stay in, and that will be something we do in a future video. We've got a creeper over here looking to cause some mischief. I'm going to deal with him. And the way I dealt with him is by letting him blow up. That works, I guess. Better than getting blown up with him. Alright, close that off. Let me just fill this in. We have got more dirt than we know what to do with back in our chests at camp. Just fill in the bottom level so that we can get up and out easily, like that, so that we can get out as soon as we want to, if we happen to fall in. Alright, now it's already got more in it than it did before that creeper blew up. Okay, so we'll probably, since we're in early game and we don't have a lot of fancy building materials available yet, we'll probably just build this initial house out of wood, because we have a lot of wood. Each one of those logs turns into 4 planks. And if we try to build our house out of anything else, well, we just don't have very much. We could build it out of cobblestone, maybe. But that seems a little boring. I don't know. I guess we could build them a cottage out of cobblestone and wood, kind of like the village has over there. Maybe I'll try something artistic. Usually in early game, I try not to get too artsy. Try to stay functional and get things done as quickly as possible so we can advance to later stages of the game. Well, I think this one will just be a short video. I think we're running a little under 20 minutes this time. I usually aim for 20 to 30 minutes, but I don't think we can get that house built in the amount of time that I would like to keep this video to. So, thank you all for watching. Our camp is continuing to come along. I hope you'll come along with us next time when we start building a villager house. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.